Okay, so stepping into the world of food safety. Wow, talk about a career where you can really make a difference.
Yeah.
And landing that food safety specialist role, well, that's where acing the interview comes in. Today, we're taking a deep dive into how to do just that using, some really cool insights from RoleCatcher.
It's a field that demands a lot, no doubt.
Yeah.
But the importance of safeguarding public health, that's what makes it so rewarding.
Mm. Mm.
So let's unpack how to really showcase your passion and your expertise in an interview.
Yeah, and that's where RoleCatcher comes in.
Yeah.
It's this free platform packed with resources, like career guides and interview prep materials. They've even got this AI that helps tailor your answers to specific job roles. Pretty slick.
I think what's so fascinating about their approach is the focus on real interview questions. They've got a database of over $120,000, which means you're prepping with the real deal, not just, generic advice.
I love that, yeah. So let's dive into some of those common interview questions that RoleCatcher flagged for aspiring food safety specialists, and really just break down how to knock your answers out of the park. So first up, tell us about your experience in developing and implementing food safety protocols.
Okay.
It's clear they're looking for more than just textbook knowledge here.
Absolutely. This is your chance to bring that practical experience to the table.
Right.
So instead of just listing off protocols, think about a specific instance where you had to develop or implement one.
Right. So rather than just saying, I'm familiar with HACCP,
Yeah.
you'd want to kind of paint a picture for them.
Yeah.
Walk them through the process you followed. Did you identify a potential hazard and then create a control measure?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is where the STAR method comes in handy.
Okay.
It helps you structure your answer in a way that's clear, concise, impactful. You've got the situation, the task, action, and result all covered.
So if we stick with the HACCP example, you could say something like, in my previous role at a food manufacturing facility, I noticed inconsistencies in our temperature logs for refrigerated storage.
Right.
My task was to ensure compliance with, safe storage temperatures.
Yeah,
And then you walk them through the actions you took.
exactly. Did you implement a new logging system, provide additional training to staff, and then crucially, what was the result? Did you see a decrease in temperature violations? Quantifying your impact. That's key here.
Yeah, that's such a good point. Don't be afraid to toot your own horn a bit and highlight those
Good.
positive outcomes. Now, I bet they might follow up with something like, what were some challenges you faced while implementing this new protocol?
Right.
How would you recommend tackling that?
That's a great question because it digs into your problem-solving abilities.
Yeah.
Were there any roadblocks you encountered, maybe pushback from staff, limitations with existing resources, and more importantly, how did you overcome those obstacles?
That's where your ability to, think on your feet and find solutions shines through. Okay, let's move on to another question RoleCatcher highlighted. What steps do you take to ensure regulatory compliance in food safety? This one feels like a test of your knowledge of the rules and regulations.
Absolutely. You want to demonstrate a strong grasp of relevant regulations, like HACCP,
Right.
which stands for Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Points, a system for identifying and controlling potential hazards in food production.
Right.
You might also mention ISO 22000, a set of international standards for food safety management.
So it's not just about memorizing acronyms, but really understanding the why behind these regulations and how they translate into, real world practice.
Yeah.
Could you give an example of how you've ensured compliance in your previous roles?
Sure. Let's say you were responsible for implementing a new food safety regulation in a previous role. You could talk about the steps you took, like conducting a thorough review of the new requirements, developing updated procedures, and then training staff on those new procedures. Don't forget to highlight any positive outcomes, like a successful inspection or a reduction in safety incidents.
That makes sense. Now, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze your answers to these types of questions and provide feedback on how well you're conveying your knowledge and experience.
That's the power of AI.
Yeah.
It's like having a personal coach helping you refine your communication style for the specific role that you're after. Speaking of specific roles, have we looked at the career path for a food safety specialist yet?
Not yet. But RoleCatcher does offer some fantastic insights on career progression in their guide. Maybe we can dive into that after we tackle a few more interview questions.
Sounds like a plan. Now, let's see what's up next on our list of common interview questions. All right, so moving on, let's take a look at this one. Can you describe your experience with HACCP and its application in food safety? We've touched on HACCP briefly, but they're likely looking for like a deeper understanding here.
Yeah, it's one thing to know what it stands for, but like showcasing how you've applied those principles in those real-world situations, that's key.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Think about a specific instance where you used HACCP principles to identify a potential hazard, implement that control measure, and monitor its effectiveness.
Okay, so for instance, maybe you were involved in updating a food production process, and you used those HACCP principles to analyze each step, identify potential points of contamination, and then establish critical limits for things like temperature, time.
That's a great example. You could even walk them through the specific hazards you identified.
Yeah.
The control measures you put in place, maybe it was implementing a new sanitation procedure or
Yeah.
like adjusting cooking times, and then of course the result.
Right. Did those changes lead to, a decrease in the risk of contamination? Did you receive like positive feedback during audits
Yeah.
because of your thorough HACCP implementation? Those details matter.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
Now, here's where RoleCatcher's AI can give you an extra edge.
Okay.
You can actually practice your answers to these questions, record yourself, and get AI-powered feedback on things like your clarity, conciseness, even your use of industry-specific terminology.
It's like having a virtual mock interview with a food safety expert. I love it. Okay, ready for another question?
Yeah, bring it on.
Right. This one focuses on continuous learning, which is so crucial in a field like food safety. How do you stay current with developments in the field of food safety?
I love this question.
Yeah.
This is your chance to shine as someone who is truly passionate and dedicated to staying ahead of the curve.
It's more than just saying, I attend a conference here and there.
Right.
How do you actually seek out new information and keep your skills sharp?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you a part of any professional organizations like the International Association for Food Protection?
Right.
AAFP.
Yeah.
Do you subscribe to any industry publications or follow reputable food safety blogs?
Maybe you've even taken additional courses or earned certifications beyond just like the basic requirements. It's about demonstrating that you're invested in your professional growth.
Precisely. And don't just list these things off. Share a specific example of something you learned recently and how you applied it in your work.
Yeah. Did you attend a webinar on a new foodborne illness and then update your company's safety protocols accordingly? Sharing those tangible examples really makes a world of difference.
Absolutely. Now let's move on to another question that often trips people up. Can you give an example of a time when you identified a food safety issue and took steps to resolve it?
Yeah, okay.
This is where they really want to see your problem-solving skills in action.
It's like a mini case study of your experience.
Hmm.
The STAR method comes in handy here again,
It's
right?
the perfect tool for this type of question.
Yeah.
You'll want to set the scene. What was the situation that you were facing? What was your specific responsibility or task in that situation? What actions did you take to address the issue?
And of course, the most important part, like, what was the result of your actions? Did you prevent a potential outbreak, improve a process? Quantifying your impact is crucial here.
For instance, let's say you noticed a potential cross-contamination issue during a routine inspection of a food preparation area.
Right, okay.
You could talk about how you immediately halted the process, you identified the source of the issue, and implemented corrective actions.
And then to really drive home the impact, you could say something like, as a result of those actions, we achieved 100% compliance rating on our next health inspection, or we saw a significant decrease in reported foodborne illnesses.
Those concrete details make your experience come to life.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but there's still so much more to unpack, especially when it comes to career growth in this field. What does RoleCatcher's Career Guide have to say about that? So we've been really digging into these common interview questions for food safety specialists, but what happens after you land that interview?
Right.
RoleCatcher's Career Guide, it really seems like they have a pulse on the career trajectory in this field.
They really do. It's like they've mapped out the different stages, from entry-level positions like food safety trainee all the way up to food safety manager. And seeing that potential for growth, that can be incredibly motivating.
Totally. It's like having a roadmap for your career, especially for those just starting out. What are some key takeaways they highlight for climbing that ladder?
Well, one thing they emphasize is the importance of, continuous learning. We talked about staying current with industry trends, but formalizing that with certifications is huge. So they highlight certifications like HACCP, Food Safety Manager certification, but also ones like Certified Professional in Food Safety,
Okay.
CPFS.
So it's about building that strong foundation of knowledge and then like continuing to level up your expertise.
Exactly. And as you progress, they suggest building a portfolio of your work.
Okay.
It's one thing to say, I'm great at developing HACCP plans, but having actual examples to showcase, that speaks volumes.
It's like having like tangible proof of your skills and accomplishments. What kind of things could someone include in like a food safety portfolio?
It could be anything from like documented HACCP plans you've developed to training materials you've created for staff. Maybe you've done some root cause analyses for food safety incidents. Those can be incredibly valuable to showcase your analytical skills.
That's a great point. It's about thinking beyond, just the day-to-day tasks and finding ways to demonstrate your broader understanding and impact.
Absolutely. And as you gain more experience, RoleCatcher even suggests like presenting at conferences or writing articles for industry publications.
Wow, that's next level stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Turning yourself into like a thought leader in the field.
It's a fantastic way to share your knowledge, contribute to the profession and build your reputation.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive into the world of food safety specialist interviews, there's one question we haven't touched on yet, and I bet you know exactly what it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's the one that makes everyone a little nervous.
Yeah.
The dreaded salary question. What does RoleCatcher suggest for handling that curveball?
You're right. That one can definitely induce some interview jitters.
Yeah.
But remember, an interview is a two-way street.
Yeah.
You're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you.
It's about finding the right fit, both in terms of the role and the compensation.
Exactly. And RoleCatcher actually has a tool that analyzes salary data for similar positions in your location.
Oh, wow. So you can go into the interview armed with like realistic figures based on actual market data, not just what you hope to earn.
Exactly. You can confidently say, based on my research, including data from RoleCatcher, I'm targeting a salary range of, and then provide, a reasonable range.
That shows you've done your homework and you're approaching this with a clear understanding of your market value.
Precisely. And it's all about being prepared, which is what RoleCatcher helps you do.
So there you have it. Everything you need to absolutely rock that food safety specialist interview. We've talked about showcasing your experience, handling those tricky questions, leveraging AI for an extra edge, and even mapping out your career trajectory.
And remember, this is just a glimpse into the treasure trove of resources that RoleCatcher offers completely free. Head over to their platform to explore everything from in-depth career guides to those incredible AI-powered tools.
It's like having a career coach and a tech-savvy mentor all rolled into one. Good luck out there, and remember, your passion for food safety is your superpower. Let it shine through.